in or
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this episode 3 of the Empowering Women series with myself, Ben Colley. Tonight, we have got a wonderful woman from Portugal. Her name is Teresa. I met Teresa back in April of this year after we had attended a Tony Robbins event called UPW in London. There was a Facebook group set up, and we soon became firm friends and began talking privately outside of the group. I soon understood that Teresa was a different breed than most. She was there to help elevate people, help people to become better versions of themselves and to create some great breakthroughs. So that was really, really empowering for me to have a friend that had numerous different skills to be able to help us create breakthroughs, but also someone that had a lot of caring and affection traits to her personality. So I'm not going to steal her thunder. We're going to hand over to Teresa. She's Portuguese. She's living in northern Portugal, so it's slightly different from the weather, I'm sure, here in the UK. Teresa, can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can indeed. I can indeed.
Houston, so, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, we're certainly gonna have some fun, that's for sure. So just first of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Teresa and how it's all began.
Oh my gosh, So good evening, everyone. I, like Ben said, I'm from Portugal, and I've always been like this happy person, really with a lot of humor. And since I became a teacher really soon, like I was 20, 21, I was already teaching. The most amazing times were with my students, always, no shadow of a doubt. Once I got inside the classroom, let's rock and roll, let's party, and it would be just fun. The thing was, when I got out of the school, so when I got home and when I came into my relationships and when I came into my husband, like ex-husband or whatever, those were the challenges. And then I started to understand like there's something that is not right. So I started to realize there was this conflict, a big conflict. Fuck. Oh, by the way, sometimes I curse, sorry. So I was like, no shit. There are things that I don't want to do that create pain to me, and then I do it. So I kept like, why is that? And keep asking the questions, and why do I keep doing it? I was never asleep, let's say. So I was always like looking for the answer. Like, oh, like one thing for me is like all this fire would come out like snapping at my kid, for example. Like I would lose my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, and I would scream and yell, and then I was like, fuck, why did I do that? And I would feel guilty and I would feel bad about me. And then sometimes, I don't need to say, I was listening to my mom speaking or yelling or shouting. So I was repeating, but I couldn't stop it. I couldn't find a way of stopping it. So like no time goes by. And then 2 years ago, I hit the bottom and I hit this most painful and fucking threshold that I can ever think about. And I've been in and out of antidepressants since like the birth of my first child in 1999. And this time I went to the doctor and I told her like, here's what, I'm not going to work, I'm not going to school, I'm not feeling good. Like, and she said like, well, what are you going to do? And I said like, oh man, you're not understanding. That like this is so fucked up because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about what's going to happen. And at this stage, I was like, I only knew this is not for me. That's the only thing I knew was this is not okay. This is not for me. In very areas of my life, I knew that must be a way.
So
Of course, like,
I'll just clarify just before you push on then. So the situation that you're in terms of like the relationship, yeah, you went into a bad place and you just didn't feel happy and you were taking it out on your children because you were feeling under pressure and under stress.
yeah, you know, like, because I used to think, like, now I know, because I went to look for the notes from UPW. I used to think like life is a bitch, you know. That was one of my limiting beliefs that I had to look it up because I destroyed it at UPW completely. But what happened was, like, I got divorced in 2001. My kid was only 2 at the time. Then I spent some time like going around, you know, like working, dancing, sometimes having fun, some other time like no big deal with relationships. Then I get involved with this guy, I get pregnant, and then I just tell him, you know, like, you're not for me, you need to fuck off. And I stay pregnant with one boy who's about to be 8 and another one coming. So I was pregnant and I was single, and so I give birth, and, you know, like, everything was piling. Everything was piling. So 2 years ago, 2014, the doctor tells me, okay, so you need to go and see the psychiatrist, you know. And I said, okay, I'll do it, you know. But in my heart, in the back of my mind, I had a plan. And the plan was not take any of that shit. That was like, you know, so many years doing the same stuff and having the same results. You need to change. If you keep getting the same results, that means you keep doing the same stuff. If the results are not good for you, you need to change the stuff that you're doing. And one of the things was like, this is not healthy. You know, it makes me feel like, ooh, you know, like if I would smoke a joint, probably I'd feel happier. But those drugs, they didn't get anything they didn't get anything good out of me. It was just like I would feel an extra boost of energy, and it was not healing. So I went to the psychiatrist and he said, like, oh, what's going on with you? And I told him the story and I cried like hell. And then he said, like, oh, you're gonna take this. And I said, like, okay. I bought those shit, then I brought it home and never took them. And instead I looked for another way. This time I went into yoga, you know, like, I looked for other healing techniques, and I started meditating, and that saved my life. That,
okay, so
like,
I just want to add something there. So, you know, would you say that a lot of, I'm not saying all, but a lot of stress induced or environment induced mental illness, okay, can be rectified or reversed with non-medical or non-medication, you know, with like you're saying, you know, holistic methods or yoga and those kind of things, where we kind of try and take an outside perspective on our lives rather than taking pills.
well, that happened with me. So I spent, can you do the maths for me? Like 1999 until 2014, I spent all those years, once a year more or less, sometimes like every once a year at least, I would have to go for the happiness pill. And it did, and my health getting worse and worse. I had problems sleeping. I was chewing my teeth. I could kill somebody, you know, like, because this energy that you describe me with, like this fire, if it's not well directed, you better believe that I'm going to do something, you know? And those pills even made it worse. It was as if they were increasing, and I would snap even more, you know, like I would lose it. I was like a gunpowder with the thing. Like, all you need was to get near me, like, bam, you would get this big explosion. So once I went for osteopath, acupuncture, yoga, meditation, Now I can say that I can sleep and I don't chew my teeth. I don't have headaches. All my muscles are relaxed. I spent years doing physiotherapy, and that shit didn't work because I was not taking care of my body from the inside out. When you take pills, what you do is you take it outside and you put it inside. And that's the opposite. We need to bring what's inside, we need to bring it outside, create space. That was how I started healing my body.
Okay.
Because a lot of stuff started to show up. I even had like a lump on my breast. Fortunately, like luckily, it was nothing serious, but that my body was giving me signs. You either do something or this is not gonna work. And of course, like who wants to be angry all the fucking time?
Yeah.
You know, so I just knew. I didn't even know like I was on a spiritual path. I didn't even know like I was like getting on. I have never heard about self-development. I've never heard about life coaching. I was like an imprisoned teacher that was so happy inside the classroom, but once released, oh man, back to life, back to reality, and everything was just like bam. So all I knew was
so when did it all sort of, so 2014, when did this start to
So it started exactly when I started yoga. Like when I started yoga 2014 and doing meditation, then at the same time, because once you start taking care of your mind, your mindset changes. And of course, like I was so fearful. I took a medical license from school because I was not like, I couldn't be around kids. Can you imagine me around kids? I was dangerous. No, luckily, I was conscious enough to stay away from them because because I was exploding and it was not their fault. So in that time, I had 24/7 for myself. And what am I going to do with that time? And in the meantime, it's when I meet a Buddhist Lama and I started learning with him. And Buddhists, they don't play around. They make it serious. When I say make it serious, it's big deal. You learn it deeply. So I started learning, and everything started to make sense. And then I started to feel more relaxed, and I started to feel like more joy. And at the same time, because I started learning about the power of questions, because I learned about the mind, then I started asking myself more empowering questions. And at the same time, everything happens at the same time for me. Like one of my friend coaches, she said like last week, she said, "Oh man, you're not here for a kindergarten. You are here for a PhD. Life really brings it on you." So at the same time, like the most amazing and wonderful thing happens. I go to this marketing course. Like I only knew the word marketing because I am an English teacher and I knew the meaning, but I know like I have never heard about marketing, but I felt like going. And there it was when one man said the name Tony Robbins. And when I heard the name, immediately I wrote it down on my notebook. Check this guy when you get home. And that's one of the most amazing things that could have happened. I'm always, always grateful. Every morning when I do my priming, every morning I'm grateful for that moment. Because that moment changed my life. That moment changed my life. So I came home, started digging and digging and digging and digging and just drinking and eating everything that man had to teach. Then I went to learn with him to become a coach. Then fire walking.
Why do you think that? Because I'm very much converted as well. A weekend happened you know, in April, and the transition for me from going to that weekend with the, you know, nutrition advice, with it backed up with the science and obviously the people, the experts around the world that had done the research into it. Why do you think that? Because I can't even recognize who I was like this time last year before I went. Everyone I spoke to said, if you go to Tony Robbins UPW, it's life changing. You know, you're going to go there and you're going to go into a transition period, and it's going to be, you know, an amazing, amazing shift in your consciousness, in your awareness. And what would you, because I try and pin it to people and I can't do an accurate job of it, what would you pin that 4 days down to? You know, what would you try and say that we kind of, what process did we go through that you could try and elaborate for us a little bit to other people?
Well, first of all, if you go, I would say that it was life-changing for you, and it was life-changing for me, and for all those people that say to you that it was life-changing, because we went there wanting more. We went there opened to the experience, and guess what? We played full out. If you go and don't play full out, you don't get the same results. So that experience for me, honestly, first it was about the fire walking, because I had this story that I was a fearful girl, that I didn't have the courage to. And to be honest, like when I went there, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? How am I going to walk on fire? I'm so afraid of pain. How am I going to walk on fire? I'm going to get burned. You know, like, and then I remember what I had been learning from him. And so I thought about, what is the fear that is bigger than this fear? And I found it. The fear is to fail in walking on fire, because I want to get the most out of this experience. And there's a reason this guy puts it on the first place, right? So, you know, just trust and go for it. Now that is life-changing. The reason it is life-changing first for me is because you are just screwing your mind. You are fucking your mind hard, and it's not even noticing. That's what I love about the event. You're just having fun. If you go there like, oh my gosh, why are those people jumping all around? They look like crazy. They feel like, oh my gosh, I came into a cult. If you go there like this, bam, you're done. But if you just go and you decide to play around, it is just amazing. And in the meantime, it's keeping your mind busy, like playground, keeping your mind busy and doing the things that you have never done. It's all about, like in hypnosis, we talk about, it's making the unfamiliar familiar, and what is familiar, you make it unfamiliar. So it's destroying the patterns, because everything is here. And once we understand here, and once we just, oh, come on, how powerful is it? For me, it was life-changing, because like I said, 2 limiting beliefs, we work there. I don't remember them. I had to look in the notes to tell you which one it was. Because they're gone. How powerful is it? How powerful is it? And again, like Tony Robbins says, and it's for sure, like all it takes is one second, heartbeat. In a heartbeat, you get this breakthrough, and your life is never the same. Your life is never the same. Can you imagine 4 days having breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough? And your mind is like a highway to heaven. Woo! Here I go. It's that's why it's life-changing.
I think that I've been to lots of seminars before. I mean, dozens and dozens of seminars and inspirational events and this kind of thing. And I've seen people try and mimic Tony Robbins and, and try and do what he's doing. And I think that there's nothing that can, people think, wow, 12 to 14-hour days, in a seminar, that's just too much. I couldn't cope. And you couldn't cope in a normal environment of sitting there with a pad listening to a speaker, even if they were quite interesting. But when you go into that, because he keeps doing the whole get you moving, changing your physiology, changing your state, constant. You never have time, do you? The first time I realized about tiredness was like on the way back to our hotel after the fire walk, and I was too pumped. That is the first time in like 14 hours on the Thursday that it even entered my brain.
Yeah.
It's just incredible how you can condition yourself. I always say to people, is it possible if you were running a marathon that you could run another 100 meters, 200 meters, if you really had to, if the reason to do it was compelling enough? So we always have a well of energy inside us, don't we? And I think
oh my gosh, absolutely. I think everybody's going to relate to this. When you want to go pee, but you are out and you are just arriving home, and you're driving, and then all of a sudden the pee becomes unbearable. Have you noticed that if you, I live in a building, 3rd floor, and if you have to go inside the elevator, then it starts to become unbearable. I can't stand it. I can't hold it any longer. And then as it goes up and as you put the keys in the door, you feel like that's all mine. Because if you were still driving, you wouldn't feel that way. When you're doing an exercise, usually I do this when I am doing workshops live with people. If you are stretching and you go to your limit, just stop. And if you tell your mind, this is my limit, you stop. Where is your limit? And then I just say try and push a little bit further. And they go like, oh my gosh, that was my limit. It's all in the mind, all in the mind. And of course, he is a charismatic person, absolutely charismatic. There's no way you are in front of him and he doesn't reach your soul. There's no way, unless you're just there to play around and fool around.
But I think that's the good thing about it being an expensive ticket price, because you do tend to get more serious people, don't you, that go to those kind of events, because you think, I'm not just going to pay, £20 or £50 or something to go in and to experience this. It's always the cheapest ticket is several £100s. And I think, to me, it was worth that per day. Per day that we were there. And some of the guys that were dealing with, some of the sales speakers and some of the guys that were dealing with nutrition, Joseph and those guys, I mean, they're amazing, world-class speakers, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That seminar was for free, because we were there 12, 13 hours. If you just do the math per hour, that's for free.
Yeah.
That's for free. The thing about walking on fire for me was life-changing.
Yeah.
It was life-changing. Once you do something you never thought you would do, but you do it, it's life-changing. I have one. I'm going to give you an example. I've had one client. He was this unconfident guy, especially around women. And he was really struggling with it. And I challenged him to talk. I can't remember the number, but probably 25 or 30 women, different women, in a period of 1 week or 2 weeks. And once he did it, it changed his life. If you could see this man before, and if you could see him now, the way he speaks, the way he talks, once you do something you never thought you could do in your life, that's life-changing. And we are so much capable of doing, we can't even imagine what we're capable of.
I know, it's shocking. When you like you said, when you push through that limitation, when you think, I can only do this, And then you push a little bit further and you think, well, maybe I can do a little bit extra. And then you push through that bit and think that one of the things that, I coach to people, and I speak to a lot of different people in a lot of different countries about is the fact that, we have this unlimited potential. And when people I would never get that job, and they sell themselves this whole conditioning mentality because their mum or dad have said that they can't do this or whatever. It's like you've been in that relationship, wanting to break out, getting stressed because they're not actually living their purpose. And I think that when you're stretching yourself and you're growing, you're going to fall a lot of time. You're gonna find yourself that you're gonna have temporary defeats most days. But I love temporary defeats now because temporary defeats show you that you're trying. And if you're trying to grow and trying to develop, some of that is going to kick in. You're going to be learning new skills. You're going to be meeting some great people. And I think that it's such a sad thing when we know as human beings, we are the only species on the planet that has this ability to keep bolting new skills on. A puppy, when a puppy grows into a dog, that's its job done. Yeah, that's it. It can be trained, but it's a dog. We can grow and develop and have all new skills and new abilities, and we can literally go wherever we decide to go. And the great thing for me about Tony Robbins and UPW was when you go across that fire that's hot enough to melt steel and you walk that however many more than 15 feet across it and you come to the other end, you realize that you can actually unlock your inner potential, right? And that you then have the ability to go and to follow any path that you're passionate about. And that I think is the biggest takeaway for me, where if you can break down those limiting beliefs that you've already mentioned, you can walk across that fire and then you start saying to yourself, I'm committed to a lifetime of growing to serve. So growing yourself to share with others, everything starts fitting into place. What do you reckon to those sort of points?
As you were talking, I was here and something came to me that it's our duty to grow and to serve. Can you imagine if humankind didn't grow? Just go back in time, you just watch movies, go back in time. We would still be killing ourselves, cutting the heads. I know we kill ourselves in different ways, but cutting the heads, burning women because they're witches, because of the intuition they had, they were being burned. All of that would still be happening. Mankind has evolved and keeps evolving because it's our duty. We come into this planet, it's my belief that we come into this planet to evolve and to grow into what we already are, because we come with amnesia. And then the mind comes to rule the world. I was on a live in the group of women I have, and I was telling them that when I stopped and thought, what am I living for? No, alarm clock goes off, you get up, you just go to work, you do your job, you come in wrong, you run, you cook dinner, or you don't cook dinner because you're just fed up about cooking and you order food. Then you sleep, and then you start hearing people, oh my gosh, thank God tomorrow is Friday. And then I started to think oh yeah, that means Monday is closer, is nearby. That means you're getting older faster. That means time is passing. What are you doing? And what I see is that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people like I was, and probably like you were, and we are awakening. We're not awakened, we are awakening. Just go it's as if the mind is the boss. And I have this picture, this big machine putting babies into the earth, bing, bing, and everybody, and they start grow. And once they grow, like once the mind had time to fuck our heads, then we're ready. And then everybody goes to work and everybody goes and polish this big, big diamond. Nobody knows who's this diamond, but he goes and polish. And then you go back, you sleep, like Pink Floyd about school system. I used to like, this is it. And I used to think like, yeah, so the diamond, the diamond is not outside. The diamond is inside.
Yeah.
We forgot about who we are. We forgot about our nature. And our nature is happiness, joy, love, and freedom. That's our nature, you know? So that's what I'm here for now, is to teach, to inspire, to help others to get out of the prison, get out of the jail, like escape. I'm a fugitive now. I'm a fugitive, always walking, always watching over my shoulder, like, what is the mind thinking now? No, but I'm a fugitive, and I am a happy fugitive, because watch for your thoughts. But again,
I think the Matrix is a good representation of life, isn't it? The film, where people are plugged into this kind of world, aren't they? And when you step away from the world and you look back, you think, how was I ever in that for so long? 97% of the population are plugged into a world that until they are ready to awaken and to move away from, they are going to be in that, the majority, until they are the wrong side of the grass. Yeah. And they're going to stay in that conditioned environment. And I try my level best. I think that when you awaken, you want to go to the top of the roof and you want to shout into the local community, or you want to shake everyone. And you want to say, come on, what you're actually doing is a box life. You wake up in the morning, they eat there, or they get out of a box bed, they go into a box shape and have a shower. They go downstairs and have a box breakfast, like Tony said to us, and they have a breakfast out of a box, and then they go and get into a box and they drive to work and sit in a box and look at a box, and go back home and then sit in the box to go back to their box house.
yeah.
Their box dinner, and they do this for 50 years, and then they retire on not enough money to retire. They're broke and they call it a life.
Yeah.
And I just think, it's sad.
I remember, like, when I got married, the year I got married when I was 24. And I learned by pain that life is not a guarantee. I knew that, but sometimes you need a wake-up call and you need to see something or feel something. And I had an aunt. She had moved to Switzerland as for like an immigrant, and I had been with her in August when I got married, and she said, like, she was so young, and she said, like, see you in December. I'll be there for Christmas and I'll be there for good, because I am, like, now that I have worked and built my house, I'm going to move there and I'm going to be with my kids. Guess what? She came, but she came in a coffin.
Yeah.
So I knew, like, what are we working for? What are the priorities? What is it worth it? It's okay if your priority is to work. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But do it consciously. Do it consciously. The problem is, like,
most people, I think if they were asked, I don't think that they would choose to live that life. I think if you were to say to people, okay, what is your dream? Because there's no reason, from what we've spoken about tonight, there's no reason why you can't.
Can I add something? Can I just stop you there? Because fuck, Ben, if you had asked me 2 years ago, if you had met me and you asked me, what is your dream? That that would make me cry because I had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I think
that's what happens.
going on from that, I
People,
think goal setting is so. I think goal setting is so important because I think for us to have a dream as children is normal. Having a dream as adults is absolutely not normal. Having a day-to-day life, the box life in adulthood is normal, with kids and with challenges and everything, and people get undermined with all of that. But I think that, what we've got to do is we've got to go through goal setting with people and say, okay, where do you want to be? And then when we know where they want to be, we can be intuitive in the fact of helping them take the stepping stones to where they want to be. Most people that I've come into contact with, and that's thousands of people over the last 4 years, the box life isn't the choice life. They do not choose to do that, but they feel they must do that to exist. They feel they
yeah,
must do that to earn money.
because we don't know there's something else. Because
Yeah.
we don't know there's something else. And again, goals, when you say setting goals, that brings a funny feeling to me because I have never set goals in my life. And when I was doing the training with Tony Robbins to become a coach, there was this exercise about goal setting, and I was struggling a lot. And then I understood because there are people like me that the most important goals are about feelings. So we have goals about the way we want to feel. So I may not know what I want to do, but I know how I want to feel. And from there, then I can figure out what do I need to do to feel this way, you know? So it's when people don't see themselves, don't hear themselves, don't feel themselves, and don't know themselves, they lose the capacity of dreaming. Like, what is that? What do you mean? You know, what dreams? What dreams? You know, and and then we get confused about around. Okay, oh, I should be thankful for being alive. That is no, I don't want anything else. Then we think that is all there is, all it takes. But our purpose in life, we were brought here, and that's why those human needs Tony Robbins teaches, the ones that fulfill the spirit are the growth and fulfill and contribution,
Yeah.
because that's what we were built for, to evolve, to bring this, to bring mankind into happiness. My Buddhist Lama once said there was a time when we had to teach people about how not to suffer, when people were starving, many, many, many years ago. The teachings on Buddhism were about how not to suffer. Now we need to teach people how to be happy. And that I love. That is me, like how to be happy. Okay, bring it on. How can we do this? So when I joined UPW, when I booked my ticket for Day to Destiny in Florida this last December, that was the most crazy thing that I did in my entire life, and I would never imagine that I would ever do it. That was a dream. Tony Robbins brought me the capacity of dreaming again, because I wanted so badly to be in that room, so badly that I would do whatever it takes. And so once you find that passion, you need to find a passion, you know, something that lights up your soul, something that lights up your spirit, a passion. It can be anything.
Yeah.
I am passionate about separating small beads by colors. I'm passionate about it. What if you just do that for 5 minutes? What if? Just find your passion. And once you find your passion, once you start loving yourself, because this was big for me, loving myself. I could love anybody, you know?
Yeah.
but
You
I was
struggle to
not.
love yourself. Struggle to love yourself, yeah?
I was not fully loving myself because I had spent so many years in the male energy, the masculine energy. You know, bring it on, baby. Let's go. Oh, put yourself together. Why are you crying? You got a divorce? Life continues, baby. You know, put yourself together. Don't cry. You got to work tomorrow. You got to look pretty. And going into the masculine energy kept me away from my core. And I forgot about what it is being a woman. And if I forget about being a woman, I forget about myself. And if I forget about myself, I'm not loving myself. And when I don't love myself, I accept a bunch full of crap in my life. The wrong people. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So we accept, a bunch of crap. Situations, the way people treat us, the way we treat ourselves. We attract wrong relationships. We attract wrong bosses. So many things. When we don't love ourselves, then we lack self-confidence, we lack self-esteem, and we will always think, it's not for me, I can't do it, or you're lucky, I'm not. No. Oh,
Just,
you have it. You
just
have
to,
it.
just to summarize on that, what you're talking about there. So you're saying that when we're not happy and we're subjecting ourselves and we haven't got the self-love, we're changing our vibration, we're changing our energy, which means that we're attracting more of the bad stuff into our lives. Yeah?
We attract what we need to work on. So, for example, to give you an example, I attracted people into my life that would make me feel like a piece of shit. Like everything else is more important than I am. Or I would attract people into my life that would lie to me, that would betray me the way I felt it. That this is my perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not loving myself means I would go and overachieving things that were not right for me because I wanted to prove to others that I can do it. Not loving myself means that I would feel guilty every time I was angry and I didn't express it. And I thought I was a bad girl, that I'm a bad person. You know, the thing that haunted the most was I'm such a bad person because I get angry so easily. So I must be a bad, bad, bad person. So not loving ourselves brings rejection, brings unconfidence, brings torture to yourself, brings guilt, brings judgment. I'm still working on it. Isn't it funny that I can have fun doing so many creative things, but if they are not work, like what we usually consider work, I go and feel guilty, so I don't do it, and I would punish myself, you know. So I had this breakthrough with my own coach because I was thinking about building my own website, and she said like, oh, you can do it yourself, oh, that could be fun. And was like, yeah, but and then I will be spending so much time figuring it out. And she said like, oh, I'm sorry, it could be fun, but who knows. And then I had like, oh my gosh, that is it, like I'm playing guilty. I don't allow myself to feel pleasure, any kind of don't get me like with the sex is good, like that I allow myself. It's not that, it's the other type of pleasure that, and we women, we are getting so distant from our female energy, from our feminine divine, from our divine feminine, the opposite, whatever. We are, like losing track, like going in the opposite direction, guess what happens? If we go into the masculine energy, has any chance of being a man near us, you know?
Yeah.
So if I am like my masculine energy, you're a guy, you know what I'm talking about. Would you be around a woman that is so masculine? If you are in your core a true man, you could be my friend, but you wouldn't be going to have some fun with me, right? No polarity. No polarity. So guys are becoming like women, and women are becoming like men.
Yeah.
So we need to come back to our center, learn to love ourselves, what is our core essence, and from there we start to feel peace, love, and we start to see things with more clarity. And then we allow our men to be men, because this is my growth with my own relationship at this moment. Is I need to go back to my place so that I can see this man that is next to me. Otherwise, I will see just a baby boy, because I'm the boss.
Right then, just to finish us up tonight, just tell us a little bit about what you've got going on now. I know that you mentioned obviously coaching some women. Talk to me about your website. Talk to me about the plans so that you can give yourself a little plug and what you've got going on in the future. If anyone's listening and they want to get involved, how they can contact you.
So I just made the giant leap after I came from Date with Destiny. Those who don't know, like, that is the most wild experience with Tony Robbins you can get. I just jumped the edge, and now I gotta fly. Like, once you jump, if you don't fly, so I just quit school to feel like burn all the boats. Tony teaches it, and I'm doing it. Burn all the boats, and now I'm recovering from a surgery, and I spent 4 days creating by myself my own website. A woman that has just bought a smartphone 1 month ago. You remember I showed you my old cell phone, right?
Yeah.
So
It was,
I built.
everyone was listening. It was a Nokia 3210, if you remember those.
Yeah, Express Music. It was. I still have it and I love it. But now, like, and the reason I bought the smartphone was just because I wanted to call a Uber when I was in Florida. That was the only reason. But I'm glad I did it, because now I'm like, I learned fast. So I, by myself, created my own website, which is my name, www.teresapimenta.com. In my entire life, I would never think I would say this, my own website. So I have it. It's out there. And I just released it today. One of the most amazing experience I had in the last 2-3 months, inspired by one of the women to whom I offered a free coaching session. I, in 15 minutes, put up a course on self-love. I understood that if I don't step up, I'm being selfish. And if I'm being selfish, I'm not sharing and I'm not helping. So I have tools, I have strategies, I have teachings, I have knowledge, and there are all of the women I've coached. Like, I've offered 100 free coaching sessions, and I've coached 100 people over the period of 2 months and a half, which was like crazy. I was coaching 8 hours a day in a row. And I've coached from all over the world, and all of the women have the same thing going on: self-love issues. So I put up a course online. I call it a course because it seems like it's easier to understand, but actually what it is, it's a group coaching for women. And it's like, there's experiences you cannot put into words, and this is one of those. There was this oneness created among those women that were in that group. It was life changing for them. I have never, ever, could never imagine that would be that life changing. because we always tend to think short of ourselves, like, oh, what I did was just sharing what I know. But women are so thirsty, so hungry for this, that they absorb everything, they apply the techniques. So if you people go to the website, you will find amazing testimonials there. And so I just put it out. It's going to start the 1st February. It's going to last 5 weeks. Once a week, women will be with me. This is really private. I want to make sure that I am there for all of them. So this is only for 8 women, and it's life-changing. It is life-changing. It's one of the most amazing things that fills up my heart. So I give them my all. And I'm doing this in English. Next month, probably I'll be doing it in my own language, because I also did it with Portuguese women. So I need to keep doing this. So I am open to, I'm all about service. So those that think that I could be helping them in any way, I'm always open for a free coaching session, so that people have the opportunity to experience my coaching and experience me. And again, me experiencing them, because my coaching is not for everybody. I give them all in the session, but most of the times they go like, woo, woo, woo. This path, this journey of self-development and self-awakening is not for everybody. It's for those that are ready. It's for those that have balls. It's for those that probably forgot they have balls, but want to be reminded. So that free session allows me to also be inspired by the person. If the person inspires me, then we can go for coaching, private coaching. If doesn't inspire me, like, it's not for me. Because if I am following my dream, I better follow it with integrity.
Okay, so where do people find you?
People can find me on www.Teresa, Teresa, Pimenta, like it's my name, Pimenta.com. They can find me there, and they can find me on Facebook. Nobody can compete with Facebook. So I am here to serve other people from a place of love, and you know that because you have also experienced, and we have been talking, and that life only has meaning like that. So for those that are listening, if you resonate with something that I'm telling, something that I'm saying, something like, forgive my English, like sometimes Portuguese comes in the middle, so if you resonate in some aspects, just connect. I'll be glad to have you in my circle. But this is not to play around. This is not about wasting time. This is about taking people to their true essence, which is love, which is happiness, and which is freedom. And freedom, that is the most powerful gift we can give a human being, is freedom. So that's my purpose.
That's a brilliant way to finish off. Bring people freedom, happiness, unlock their self-love, and I think that it's been fantastic webinar, and I've absolutely loved speaking to you again. Anyone that wants to contact Teresa, if you didn't catch that, then you can always come through me and I can point you to her. She's always floating around on my timeline on Facebook as well. So it's Ben Colley Mentor on Facebook. So if you want to catch hold of me and go to Teresa that way, it's absolutely fine, or Teresa directly. Either way, we will be happy to try and help you unlock your inner potential. Thank you very much, Teresa. It's been a pleasure, and I'll catch you again soon. Thanks, guys, for listening in. I hope you got some value from that, and I'll catch you all again very soon. Take care and good night.